What up, world? It's your boy Jaystar back again with another video for you. Today we got the top 5 running backs, man, of the week 3 slate, and we're gonna get right into this one. So at number 5, like I say, every time I give y'all these positional videos, man, I go by defensive scheme, defensive matchup, and everything like that. The best matchup, the team that gives up basically the most fantasy points going against a great talented back and stuff like that, and the offensive scheme that's going to work, that I know that they're going to give this back carries to be able to produce good fantasy points. So we're going to get into this, so like I said, at number 5 for my top 5 has to be, let's get into him. Oh, here he goes right here. James Robinson, man. I'm actually shocked. I really thought, ETN was going to be the main back, but it's looking like it's James Robinson. Back-to-back weeks, just the carries have went up 23 carries, man. Like, come on now. Like, I know they had this, they was putting the game away, late and stuff like that. So he had every carry, to put the game away and things like that. I believe also they was the home team too in this game as well. So yeah, he was the home team, so the home back and everything. That's why he had the ball so many times. But I think he's gonna have another good game to get the ball another 23 times. If he's gonna get 23 touches, man, against the Chargers, they're one of the teams that's giving up the run, so fantasy points high, there. So I could expect another 15 to 20 point fantasy for him for 6,100. Definitely could be a viable back. Could also get in there 2 times, instead. If not, maybe he just hits the 100-yard bonus for us this week. So that's why he's my top, number 5 in the top 5 here. But we're gonna keep it moving for the next running back we have for number 4 back, and we have Miles Sanders, man. Back-to-back weeks we've seen he has finally been showing that he's the lead back. They're really not going to other backs that much. It looks like he's going to have the in the 5 in the 5-yard line carries and stuff like that for the goal line and stuff like that. I know he didn't get into the goal line this game because, goodness gracious, did his quarterback not take every running play to the house? Like, golly, he was killing them, man. So killing the Vikings left and right, man. But I expect this game playing Washington, man. They haven't been really too good against backs. Swift was able to get in there, for a touchdown. I don't know if Jamal Williams. I don't think he got in there at all because I think Mon St. Brown did twice. So. But they just showing that they're giving up to the running back, man, fantasy points. And if Miles Sanders is going to get 17 to 20 touches basically each game and stuff like that, then I can definitely see him hitting a 100-yard bonus or at least getting in the goal line again in this game. So definitely another, running back 5,500, very good value too. If he gets in for the goal line, you got 20 fantasy for 5,500. That's definitely worth it. So definitely think he finally hits the 100-yard bonus in this game too as well. So that's why he's my number 4 back, and we're going to keep it moving to the next back on my list here. And I have, man, did he not come through? Did he fail you on Monday night? Derrick Henry, man. Derrick Henry still has yet to have a big game, right? Like 82 yards here, 13 touches. They had to leave the run in the last game because it was getting blown out. He's not a pass catching back, so if he cannot run on a team, don't pick him. But this week, playing the Raiders, man, I expect him to get the ball and run nicely against the Raiders this week. I expect a huge bounce back for him at home, since his first home game was decent, like in at least the yards. Didn't get into the goal line though. So I really do expect him to get in the goal line. Can we get both things here? Can we get, he had the goal line this past Monday and stuff like that. But can we get a goal line with 100 yards? Can we get that bonus of the 100 yards with the goal line for Derrick Henry? And I think we can this week. So, because Raiders are giving up, rushing yards and also giving up just fantasy points to running backs. So I really expect it to be Derrick Henry a big week, bounce back week at home in this game. It should be a good game for him. And that's why he's my number 3 back. And we're going to keep it moving to the number 2 back of this week. And we have to go to Joe Mixon. Joe freaking Mixon, man. He's getting, oh my God, he's getting crazy amount of touches. Just the production last week was trash. Like, I don't know. That line, I guess, they just couldn't relieve the pressure even with the run, man. It just wasn't working, man. I expected him to have 9 targets. Or at least not 9 targets. I kind of expected him to have 6 targets. And once I knew Higgins was in, I knew he would kind of dial back a little bit. But I still expected him to have about 6 targets, which is still good, though. He's getting over 20 touches, period, though, for Mixon, because he's such a good back. And if you're going to tell me he's going to get another over 20 touches against the Jets, we already saw, and we know he's the goal line back, too, as well. We already saw what Chubb did, man. 3 touchdowns, man. I'm expecting a huge freaking game out of Joe Mixon, man. Like, that's why he's my number 2 back. We know what the Jets give up fantasy points to running backs. We know that they're coming off the hangover, Super Bowl hangover curse, man. 0-2 season start. And I gotta believe that they're gonna pull this one out and be able to win this game and stay up in this game, I would think too as well. Since the Jets don't have a lot of weapons, I feel like to keep up if the Cincinnati just gets up at a big lead, and Joe Mixon will be running that ball the whole second half to put it away, could get you about 2 to 3 touchdowns the way Chubb did, and have a big fantasy day for 7,600. That's why he's my number 2 back on this list. So we're gonna get into my number 1 back, and it has to go to Jonathan Taylor. And man, did he not fail everybody whoever picked him last week. And yeah, I was one of those people, but I had to take him. I mean, come on now. Like, I knew Pittman was out. I knew there was no other real weapons other than Hines, and I thought he would get the ball 31 times, and he did not, because they was getting blown out. So I knew he was going to have to be more used in the past, which they did not really use him. I thought they was going to give him at least the 4 touches that they gave him the game before, but they didn't. So now going against Kansas City, I just believe, Kansas City already gives up a lot of points fantasy to running backs. We already seen back-to-back weeks. Running backs been able to do pretty well against them. So now you're going against a top notch running back at home. Long as the Colts can keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, speed in this game. But I feel like soon as the Chargers started speeding up the game, man, it was not one thing not working for them, against the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense is not really good at all. If they could just go a little bit faster, Indianapolis Colts, I believe, was already like number 6 in pace after week 1 at least. I have to see how they come out, with pace after playing Jacksonville, which was a high-paced team too. It felt like the game was pretty fast, but them not having, Pittman hurt them a lot. I believe this game having Pittman back should be for this game should help a lot. And that way they'll be able to compete, stay in the game. That way, Jonathan Taylor is up for another 31 touches. If he getting 31 touches, you talking about he probably comes through for 9,000, unlike what he did for 99, 100 and stuff like that. But I just cannot see him not succeeding like a huge game against them. We already saw Eckler was able to get just 20 fantasy points or come short of it barely. But Jonathan Taylor is just a whole type of better back than even what Eckler is. Plus his usage is way higher than Eckler's, and I expect another at least plus 20 touches for him. And 30 fantasy to 40 fantasy is literally on the table for 9,000 at Jonathan Taylor, and that's why he's my number 1 back. Who missed the cut for my top 5? It was Dalvin Cook. Man, Detroit gives up the run, and especially fantasy points. I believe they're top 10 against for the running backs and things like that. But it's just like we already saw Gibson had a hard time. And I don't know what happened in that game. I don't know if it was just because Gibson's not that good of a running back, actually, But it also didn't feel like he had as many touches as I would have thought he would have had. But if Cook can get at home, like how he did against Green Bay, 20 touches again. And since Detroit is not as good, as Philly is against the run, they've always been a pretty good team against the run. So I feel like with Detroit, man, he should finally be able to come through. I heard he has like this little curse though, where he never plays against the Lions or something like that, and he just never does well too against them too. But I expect him to be able to do well, bounce back at home, 7,900. He's been 7,900, I believe, the first week, and then so dropping down like $100. If he doesn't come through this week, like goodness gracious, are we going to have to wait for him to drop to under 7,000 or something like that? Because their line did not look really good. Didn't really give Cousins enough time in the pocket, but they also didn't get to establish a run to keep off the pressure for play action type plays so Jefferson can get down the field. They're going to need to be able to do that this week against Detroit Lions, and if they are able to do it, Cook should have a big game, man. So that's why he just missed the cut though, because of those things. Like I said, I didn't get to see him have show me that the line is able to give him good blocking or big holes and stuff like that in the last game. So he just missed the cut, but he is playing a team that does give up the fantasy points. So I did not want to not mention him at all. So that's the running back that just missed the cut of my top 5. But yeah, so if you want to plug in Dalvin Cook, you can definitely put him in. But you went over my top 5, gave you some great running backs there, man. Even a value low running back there at 5,500 there. So definitely, man, lock them into your lineups this week so y'all can win some big money this week. It's your boy Jaystar. Thanks for all the likes, comments, subscribers. Appreciate all y'all. I'm out. Peace.